9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay. Living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Good morning from paradise, my fellow surfers. It is Friday, September 19th, and we have a great show for you today. The Fed just cut rates. Why is the market not pumping, Nick? Why am I not rich yet? Calm down, folks. It's all going to be okay. We told you there's going to be a little bit of delay between the cut and the pump, so it's all coming. It's all lining up brilliantly. We have some great news for you in terms of airdrop season. Could that be the start of retail coming back in the market? MetaMask doing a massive airdrop of their just announced Mask token? We'll have to see how that one plays out. And then, of course, updates on Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB still near all-time highs. Solana, is that going to run next? The chart's looking really juicy. How you feeling today, bud? Happy Friday, by the way.
Yeah, doing good. I'm surprised. I can't believe it's already Friday. Everything kind of blends together when the market's actually having some activity. But just getting this link shared everywhere so we can get some more people in the live show on YouTube and on Twitter. And yeah, some big news around MetaMask. It was kind of a rumor at first. Now it's official. There's a live video out there. But guess who broke the news? And then we can talk more about it. Joe Lubin. And why does that name sound familiar? Obviously, co-founder of Ethereum. But he's been very active with SharpLink Gaming, the Ethereum strategic reserve narrative, the one that we own. And why is he the one breaking the news? Do you think that SharpLink Gaming or SBET is going to benefit in any way from this? This is what I said when people talk about should you bet on BitMiner or should you bet on SharpLink Gaming? I say you bet on both. Tom Lee is the more institutional guy. He's going to get on CNBC. He's going to get the institutional no-coiner money to buy into Bitmine for the Ethereum Strategic Reserve. While I believe Joe Lubin and SharpLink Gaming is going to be able to outperform in DeFi, creating more yield with their ETH, and especially when alt season comes. And now we see Joe Lubin talking about Linea or whatever it is, talking about MetaMask airdrop, talking about OpenSea airdrop. If you don't think SharpLink Gaming is going to be able to capitalize on that, and maybe they hold the yield and put that in the SharpLink Strategic Reserve, maybe they sell the yield and buy more ETH, we'll see. But that's where their edge is. And right now, we're on the cusp of that alt season, the cusp of a massive MetaMask airdrop. And the fact that Joe Lubin is even involved with it, I think SBET holders will benefit as well.
Yeah, well, so surprised Joe Lubin's involved because his company, Consensus, built MetaMask. They own MetaMask, the software and the wallet and everything, among other tools that they built in crypto. Joe Lubin's a co-founder of Ethereum. People need to understand that, right? There were 7 or 8 founders of Ethereum. We all know Vitalik. Many of you know that Charles Hoskinson, now, of course, the founder of Cardano, is also an Ethereum founder or co-founder. And then Joe Lubin as well was there. So he's a billionaire. He's got all the connections, all the power. And I think, you know, that your analysis there is spot on. He can tap into the more, crypto native side, right? And he can generate more yield, perhaps as a result of that. He can bring on the big money that's within crypto to buy into, his shares. So he may tackle that. And you got Tom Lee over there on the institutional side. I love that take. But, yeah, big news on the Mask token. I don't think we have too many details. My rose-colored glasses take is, man, this is a boon we really need from a retail standpoint. Not only should this help bring on new retail investors who may have been dormant on the sidelines, checked out, whatever, but it would also mean money in the pockets or the literal wallets of a lot of us, OGs who... let's just be honest, we've been struggling. If you've been holding altcoins and guessed on a couple wrong ones and you're underwater right now, wouldn't it be great to get $500, $1,000 airdrop, whatever, because you've been a loyal MetaMask user all these years? I think that'd be great for the industry. It may spur a little mini alt season. Let's see.
Yeah, and there's the thing where people are like, is it going to be a big airdrop, a small airdrop, whatever? Joe Lubin does hint that the mask whole purpose is for decentralization. which obviously means it's going to probably be some kind of governance token, and they want to get it in the hands of as many wallets as possible. So ideally, a lot of us have been here for multi-cycles. You hope it counts your activity from last bull market, because a lot of us were doing a lot of pre-sales, a lot of altcoins, a lot of NFTs, a lot of DeFi. So if it does count those, you would assume you get a bigger mask airdrop. Now, there is hundreds of millions of wallets. I know you probably have 10, 15, 20 wallets yourself. So we'll see how they divvy it up. I don't think it's gonna, cause you to be able to retire. But like Crypto Amaru said, if you can get $100,000, $500,000 kind of a rebate on the alts right before the next alt season, that could be absolutely massive. That spurs a lot of free capital directly into the markets, and we'll see what network they choose. That hasn't been decided either. With Joe Lubin involved, I would probably bet that it's going to be on Ethereum network, which also helps Ethereum pump as well, which is what we want to see, but no confirmation on that yet either. So no, I don't think it's going to retire you. Yes, I think a lot of your wallets will get some mask token, and yes, I think it's positive, especially if it's on ETH, to spur growth in the altcoin market and get retail back involved. Remember, a lot of dormant retailers that have just been obliterated are not in front of crypto screens, but if they find out, hey, I need to go check all my 10 wallets to see if I have a mask airdrop, it gets them back on chain, it gets them back in the market.
If he does not select Ethereum as the, let's call it the main chain, now he may do like a separate chain, like a Linea, for example, to have it on multiple chains or something. But it's got to be primarily Ethereum. It has to. And I shouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. So yeah, this is big news. I'm very excited about this. Look, this is let's just zoom out, big picture here. I know sometimes we talk about politics. Maybe you guys like it, maybe you don't. But this is all going back to Trump winning the election. And I'll tell you why. If Biden or Harris were still in power, and the former head of the SEC was still in power, no one's launching new tokens. They're worried about going to prison if they launch a new token. They're worried about SEC lawsuit if they launch a new token. So thank goodness Trump won. Thank goodness they've taken, the heavy hand off in terms of regulatory, regulations. And it's allowing these kind of innovations to happen. It's allowing money to flow into space, retail to flow into space, these ETFs to proliferate. All these wonderful things really come back to that one moment in time on November 5th when Trump won the election last year.
Yeah, that's a very good point, so you can't argue with that fact there. It's also, this is the second day in a row we're talking about another airdrop. So for those of you who don't believe an alt season is coming, all of the biggest, smartest companies in the world think an alt season is coming. Otherwise, Base wouldn't be looking to do an airdrop. MetaMask wouldn't be looking to do an airdrop. The reason being is they know there's a one-time only thing. It's like your first impression with the person or your first impression with the channel. Hopefully here at Crypto Paradise, if this is your first time, hit the like, share, and subscribe button. But you understand it is a moment in time, and timing is everything. You're not going to blow your wad if you don't think the market is about to turn for altcoins. So now we're talking about a Base airdrop, an OpenSea airdrop, a MetaMask airdrop, Ethereum Strategic Reserve still buying. I do not think this cycle is over. These people don't think the cycle is over this month, next month, or even by the end of the year based on their actions, because it is going to take them some time to take the snapshots, to do the distribution, and to get their products live.
Yeah, man, alt season's coming. We are in alt season right now. I know it probably doesn't feel like that unless you're that guy that bought BNB at 10 cents and held it up to 1,000. Or you've been in a Solana since $9, Bitcoin since 15, whatever. But we're in alt season. We're just in phase one. We're in phase one. We're in that phase when the majors pump. We saw Ethereum go. Let's not forget. I mean, obviously, look, we think it has a long way to go from here, but it was $1,500 like 2-3 months ago, right? So Ethereum went. Okay, that's signal number one. What happened next? Solana started to run. BNB all-time highs. XRP's actually performing decently, believe it or not. So we're in that phase where the majors, the blue chips, are starting to run. We're not in the phase where shit's exciting for us degens who are trying to get 100x on a low cap. That's not the phase we're in. But we are in phase one. And so what does that mean? That means get prepared, get positioned. Don't fade out now. And to Nick's point, the big companies understand what's coming. I think it's time everyone else wake up too.
Yeah, talking about Ethereum here, if we zoom in on the chart, let's go to the 4 hour. Nothing too crazy going on here. Obviously, we know the Fed meeting sent it as low as 4,400, but then as soon as the announcement was made, we surged back up to 4,650, and now sitting at 4,534. So a whole bunch of nothing. But since the FOMC meeting, everybody's like, why aren't we rich? They cut rates. You know, Ethereum is up $100, Bitcoin is up $1,000, and it really just met expectations. Remember, 90% of people said if we only got a 0.25% basis cut, it's priced in and you should be shorting the market. So being up $100 on ETH and $1,000 on Bitcoin really went against the grain, and you got to start somewhere. The other thing too is Ethereum just keeps consolidating in the same range. The longer it does this, the bigger the explosion to the upside. This looks a lot like the gold chart before it broke out, and now, you know, it hit $3,600 or $3,700. It just had this long consolidation after putting in all-time highs before it eventually broke out to the upside. And we know Ethereum, when it breaks the upside, is going to be much more volatile and much more explosive than gold because, well, it has a 500 billion market cap. Gold had a 22 or 23 trillion dollar market cap. So it takes a lot less capital to get Ethereum going up and to the right. So, I mean, I think you just stay long and stay bullish, and you understand if there's a breakdown, 3,900 is your YOLO level. This will just be a bullish retest of this original breakout here at 3,900. Do I think we get there? Do I think it's a high probability? I'm not rooting for that. I'm staying long. I'm not even looking for that. But if it does get to 3,900, that's where I'll be scraping the pennies out of my car cup holder and trying to buy more ETH and not getting scared out of my positions. That's for sure.
Patience, 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 people. I know everyone wants to be rich. The rate cut happened. Why are we not pumping? We said leading up to the rate cut. We talked about it all the time. Talked about the rate cut. We'll continue to talk about the rate cut. We said that it takes usually a month, actually, before the market starts to really run following the rate cut. It takes a little bit of time for the market to sort of digest the news, consolidate further. You had a lot of people that were bearish out there. You know, they're selling. So look, these things take a bit of time, and I think we're in a phase here where the market's looking for more signals actually on what the Fed is going to do next.
Yeah, the
I'm
interesting thing.
of the mindset they're absolutely going to cut 2 more times because Powell basically said that. But, you know, there's people out there that are hawkish. There's people out there that say, oh, we're still worried about inflation, blah, blah, blah. I was just watching Bloomberg, and there's an analyst on there saying, you know, he thinks no more cuts this year. So, you know, there's divergence of opinions. We have the meeting in...
Yeah, those people...
It's October, right?
October. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, those people are dead wrong. Polymarket, again, it's already up to 85% chance of another cut in October. And that's where you kind of get the clarity in the markets. If we get closer to that, we're only day 2 or day 3 after the interest rate cut. You get another week or two, and Polymarket still has that at 85% or 90% for another cut in October. And now people are like, well, shit, another 15 or 20 days and we get another interest rate cut. Well, that's where I think you start to see the QE kicking off and price action starting to behave properly.
Yeah, I think it's all about the long-term direction of these cuts. And I guess there's some people out there who are still skeptical. You know, if you look at actually the dot plots, right, and that's the future predictions of all these Fed governors, where do they think the rates are going to end up in like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. There is actually divergence there. There was even one harebrained Fed governor, maybe Lisa Cook, who thinks rates are going to be higher because, you know, fuck Trump, you know, whatever. So, you know, there is a divergence there, but the majority is predicting lower, and their long-term target and what their goal is 3% interest rates. So we're a full 100 basis points, a little bit more actually, higher than their stated long-term goal. So it is all going to come to fruition. Do we have a meeting here and there where they decide to take a pause? Maybe. But my money is on further rate cuts October, and then I think the November meeting is skipped, and then we get the December meeting. Look, this is playing out exactly like last year. September, October, December, and what happened to the markets during that phase. You guys remember. So we're in a good spot. Just be patient. It's been 2 days since the meeting. My guess is we're going to have one of these. It's going to be like a Sunday afternoon. You're going to be out with your family, whatever, not paying attention. And you're going to look, and Bitcoin will have shot up like 6% in an afternoon. That's the kind of stuff, like a low liquidity, low volume day, all of a sudden a violent move up, out of the blue. That's the kind of stuff that can happen when the market finally wakes up to we're in QE.
Yeah, and we look here, we had this target on this inverse head and shoulders of 108 $18,050. Of course, we fell just short of that before the FOMC meeting, and I said, hey, I hope that wasn't it. We sold off into the meeting down to 114, and since the meeting, we ran up, guess to where? Exactly $118,000. So that could be the measured move for this inverse head and shoulder. Now you digest that and you create another formation, and we'll see where that goes from here. Right now, there's nothing you can really look at on the charts. You got neutral on the RSI, you got neutral on the technometer, you met your target on the inverse head and shoulders, and volume's been pretty consistent. So there's nothing to go on here. Everything is neutral. The next move in the market decides direction, at least in the short term. Again, though, if you've been following, we had the buy at 112, we had the buy at 110, and we had a sell target at 118, and look what happened there. So things continue to play out. If you continue to follow along with the trade ideas and the general macros, we've been on the right side for Bitcoin and Ethereum for quite a while now, and we're still leaning towards an extended bull cycle as well. So find your trades, find your entries, find your positions, and we're going to go higher here moving forward. We do see that crypto stocks are higher. I mean, Coinbase up another 0.4% today. We sold that higher, bought that cheaper. Here we are in the green again. We got the NASDAQ is up today. GameStop is up, 0.5% today. We bought the exact low on that twice. The news of you guys getting a warrant in October 3rd, I believe. So I expect this to continue to run. Next major overhead resistance is all the way up here at $33. So if you're not long with us, that's fine. It's $26, but if you get a dip to 25 or something, the next target's $33, $34. I would buy some GameStop. And let's see what the ETH strategic reserve companies are doing. I'm assuming they're red today. Nope, they're even green. BMNR up another 2.3%, even with ETH down. SBT up 0.25%, even with ETH down. And I'm telling you, this is the one that's more undervalued right now. This has the institutional hype. This one's been outperforming. We're up big on BMNR. I'll show you the chart. Bought the exact low. Hope you guys are following along. We're up double on that. But SBT, we bought the exact low as well. This one's been lagging because they haven't been able to buy a ton more ETH due to their MNAV being below their Ethereum holdings, which is wild to even think about. But the news of Linea and the news of MetaMask airdrop, I'm telling you, I think Joe Lupin has a card up his sleeve, and this one is going to play catch up. Not to mention, they just, in the shadows, bought $5 million more of ETH last night. That isn't a ton, but they're still finding capital. They're still buying more ETH and not really posting about it. So, I mean, their MNAV dropped even further on that. So, pretty crazy to see that these crypto-related stocks are in the green. Octo is even in the green, up 4.5%. While the overall crypto markets are down, I just think that shows you that these things are at too much of a discount. And when things heat up, the institutional players will FOMO as well. And these are going to play catch up again. You're going to see some explosive runs like we saw just a couple months ago on both these assets.
All these things are going much higher over the next, 3-6 months. That I'm sure of. The entire stock market is ripping and roaring right now. We're on all-time highs on S&P 500. We're at all-time highs on the NASDAQ. And we're at all-time highs on the Dow Jones. We're at all-time highs across all these indices. Right? And all the major stocks within them are also basically at all-time highs. You look at the Apples of the world, Google's, Nvidia, Oracle just went on a tremendous run. So we're in a bull market, guys. I don't know. The market's telling you, we're telling you. If you're not long, I don't know what it is that you're doing, because all these things are going to go higher up until, hey, we have a blow-off top. Way too much euphoria. We melt up, and then it has to crash at some point, or a black swan happens, right? But those can happen out of the blue by definition. So stay long, stay convicted. If you're in these, crypto-related stocks, I think they're going higher. If you're in the S&P 500, that's going higher. If you're in NASDAQ, it's going higher. If you're in Bitcoin, if you're in Ethereum, Solana, BNB, they're all going higher. So stay long here. We're chilling. Now, do I wish my low-cap gems were doing better? Yes, I do, and I'm pissed off at some of them right now that they're underperforming. But I just feel like understand the cycle, understand that when the majors are running, you know what people do? They actually sell their low caps to try to chase the BNB pump, chase the Solana pump, chase the Ethereum pump. Not everybody does this, but enough people where it makes a meaningful difference if you're talking about a low liquidity, low cap token. We've got one guy selling $20,000 worth can crash the price. So people chase the run on the majors, but then once Bitcoin or BNB, Solana, etc. slow down a little bit, then they're rotating back. They're rotating back in the low cap. So understand where on the cycle, things will play catch up on the low cap gem side of things. Although, man, it is it's been challenging waiting for those to finally do their thing, huh?
Yeah, very much so. We've had some outliers. You know, we talk about them. Fuck 9 to 5 at 300K. It ran to like 8 million. It's currently at like 1.4. So we still have gains, but it's just not life changing. You know, for us, that sitting on that 3, 4, 5x after a few months, that's great. That's great for the community. We're winning, but we need that fresh rise from those or the fresh ideas. We just had the Rome call in the Surf DAO, so we're still finding winners, but it becomes a lot easier when alt season is underway and kind of the mid caps and low caps are doing their thing. We've seen some success of some pre-sale launches. I know Nate did a live show this morning. Watch that, really focusing on the opportunity with Quants, the first ever crypto paradise pre-sale that the Surf DAO is going to get involved with. That launches on September 25th. So I think you got to have your funds in by Monday. Buy 200,000 Surf or more, get access to the Quants pre-sale, and they're going to follow in the footsteps of some of these Solana pre-sales that just launched that have done amazingly well. So we'll see what it can do, and if the market conditions are ready for more pre-sales, for more bright ideas, and some diamonds in the rough coming to the crypto market. We see the news about the airdrops from MetaMask and Base and all this other stuff. So we're starting to get over that hump. Nothing's easy right now, but we're still trying to find some winners for you in the trenches and earning passive income with a lot of our plays as well. So if you guys follow along, you know what we're in, you know where we're in on them. And a lot of them are still green. We're just not at the euphoria tops that we saw for some of them. And we're definitely not at the all-time highs moving into what we believe will be the remainder of the cycle here for altcoins and crypto assets.
Yeah, I mean, when you're investing in these low-cap gems, you kind of have to put your VC hat on. You have to understand that some of them just aren't going to perform well. Some of them will ultimately fail, right? And this is particularly true if you're investing in a pre-sale. The token hasn't even launched, right? That's you can take a total loss on that if you're getting unlucky. So you put your VC hat on, knowing that you're going to take your L's, but you have a handful of winners that can outperform and make up for all the losses. And so we're going to continue to do what we do, trying to find those gems for you guys. We've had success in the past in this, not 100% win rate by any means, but enough of a win rate where when the market conditions aligned, when the narrative, when the project, narrative aligned with what the market really wanted, that's where you get your 100 X's and more. So it will happen. I think we're going to have a handful of those this cycle. Will it be Quants? I don't know. I think Quants has a really good chance of doing well and outperforming a lot of the stuff we've been in recently. Will it do that 100 times? Hard to say. It's going to take a lot of factors lining up. But I will say this on the team. They seem deeply committed to the success of the token. They seem to know what they're doing in terms of how to actually launch and conduct a marketing campaign and, do quest campaigns and get KOLs onboarded and the proper exchanges, the proper market makers. A lot of teams don't do these things well, but Quants seems to be very plugged in and knows exactly what they're doing. Does this guarantee success? No, it does not, but I think it has a chance to outperform. So I'm looking for Quants to do well. We have a few others in the pipeline that I think have what it takes to outperform and make up for maybe some of the losers that have been launched recently. So this is how it is. Put your VC hat on, learn to take your L's, and take profits on the winners when they come.
This Linea chart is pretty wild. I'll pull it up. Obviously, there's nobody buying on that first green candle, so you kind of got to shoot that out the window. But you couldn't get there. But I'm watching this because there is rumors too that Linea holders probably will end up getting some of the mask airdrop as well. So there probably is a play on this for hype into the mask airdrop. I mean, if we get a good setup, maybe if this sold off again, like we could buy one of these dips, maybe that's an opportunity. Probably would sell it before the snapshot even occurred, because the way these things usually work is there is a run-up with the speculation of getting a mask airdrop, and then more information will come out, and maybe only 1% of the supply goes to mask, then it will dip. Or there's a snapshot date. Right when that snapshot happens, there'll be bots that sell 1 second later, and it will dip. So usually you're better off kind of trading for the speculation and not actually getting the snapshot for the mask airdrop. And I got my eyes on that. It's hard to do it now because you're on 5 green candles in a row attacking previous highs here. But if another dip came before the mask airdrop information really came out or the token economics came out, you could probably buy that for a speculation trade. Again, when it would dip is if it came out that a very small percentage of the mask was going there or right after the snapshot occurred. So I just added it to my watch list. I didn't even have this on my watch list. I'm going to put a green arrow for looking to buy. and we'll see if we get some kind of speculation trade for you guys in future live shows.
Well, I like that Joseph Lubin's behind it. He's going to push it. I like that there's speculation that Mask may be associated with it, a Mask airdrop. I don't like that it's completely pointless. I don't like that the chain is not even, there isn't a reason for it to exist. But that doesn't really matter for the financial markets, particularly crypto sometimes. So it'll probably do well this cycle. And I, wish everyone the best who's in it. I will not be investing. But yeah, good stuff on Linea. To me, honestly, if you think about, if some of the Mask airdrop this goes to these guys, it feels a little bit of like a betrayal. Let's just call it that, for lack of a better word. For those who have been loyal MetaMask users, irrespective of chain, we've been using MetaMask for, 10 years or something like that. And here comes this new chain that no one really uses because it's pointless. And then they're giving Mask tokens to these people. Like, come on, man. Like, this is ridiculous. But let's see. I wouldn't be surprised. This is crypto. This is how it works. Insider's game, give an airdrop to, people who supported and bought your other token. I mean, this is how it goes. So I would not be surprised if those rumors come to be true. I just, we'll be a little salty about it because I don't have any Linea, but I've been using MetaMask for 10 damn years.
Yeah, I mean, it probably will, because what they're going to do is they're going to say Linea is utilizing MetaMask stablecoin for liquidity, and that's how they're going to get rewarded, would be my assumption. So remember, MetaMask is launching, or just launched its own stablecoin, MUSD. So speculation that, hey, you should probably go create a small liquidity pool with that stablecoin in order to get portion of the airdrop, because that's how this works in the past. And Linea probably will be supporting MUSD, and that's how the Linea holders end up getting an airdrop.
Okay. Well,
also, you got
fine.
Joe Lubin involved with all of it, so the fact of the matter is it's probably going to happen. And it is what it is. Pretty wild though, like you said, just launched a month ago or whatever, and definitely going to get some of the MetaMask airdrop, and we've been using it for 10 years on 10 different chains.
Well, this is the nature of crypto. It's a copycat league. They say about the NFL, it's a copycat industry. Oh, what's hot right now? Stablecoins. Let's do a stablecoin. Does MetaMask need a stablecoin? Does anyone in the world really think it needs a stablecoin? Is this solving anyone's real problems in life? Absolutely not. We have USDT and USDC. What the fuck do we need another stablecoin for?
They just want their fees. That's how it works.
Right.
They're going to make their fees. They're going to give you a discount. They're going to get people to use it now because of the Mask airdrop. I mean,
correct.
It's the playbook.
And so long term, it shouldn't exist. That's my view anyway. And we could argue about this, about probably the top 100, top 1,000, top 10,000 crypto assets. Should they really truly exist, solving any major problems? Hard to say. Linea chain itself. Do we need another fast, cheap L2 running on Ethereum? How many of those do we have? Like 20? Jeez Louise. But anyway, this is the market that we're in. I can bitch, I can moan, I can complain, or can I accept reality and try to profit off of it?
Yeah, that's what you need to do. You're going back to your old ways. You're being too pessimistic. People are here to find the alpha, find the trade, and get the new game.
Well, that's it. I mean, yes, you can do those things and still go, oh my god, this is ridiculous. We can think two things at once, people.
We haven't looked at this front page here in a while. Yeah, let's look at this. Bitcoin still number 1, up 1.1%. Ethereum, XRP number 3. Yeah, XRP is definitely going to $2,000, bro. For sure.
I did see that.
For sure going to $2,000, even though it's number 3 on the list already. Ethereum's not going to go to 10 grand, but XRP is going to go from $3 to 2,000. Yeah, that's happening.
If anyone believes that, I mean, like, just
they do.
Just stop.
The blue collar workers all buy it. That's the first thing they buy. Todd called me yesterday and said, "Hey, I've been talking to this business guy. His buddy just inherited some money, and he put 400 grand into XRP blindly. First crypto he's ever buying. I don't know what they did or who they brainwashed." But all no-coiners ask about XRP. All blue-collar workers ask about XRP. And here's somebody who just inherited $1 million. And the first crypto they buy, they don't own Bitcoin. They don't own ETH. They own 0 crypto. They go on Coinbase, and they bought 400 grand worth of XRP. Their whole portfolio full ported into XRP.
I want to get that guy in the show. I want to pick his brain. Why? Why, among all the crypto assets? How let's just say even the top 10, because you're not going to put 400 grand in some tiny low cap. Of all the top 10 or top 20 assets, why did you choose XRP? Like, genuine question. Like, why? Like, what about it attracted you to it? And I'm just curious. Like, I mean, I think I know the answer. But that is wild. It's absolutely not going to 2,000. Will it go to 6? Will it double? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
But, it'll double slower than Ethereum will double. It'll double slower than, I mean, look at how well Solana's done the past year. BNB. I mean, I'd invest in all those over XRP. Just because you know what the XRP Foundation or the team is doing, just constantly dumping. Whereas BNB, I mean, look at CZ's Diamond Hands. He's got 60% of the supply, hasn't sold a single coin. So, for my money, get into these other ones before you touch XRP. But it will still probably go to $6.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Maybe we need to try to get him on and see where he got brainwashed. It's probably going to be, oh, it's the banker coin and it's going to 10,000. I mean, that's probably what it's going to be. It's been the same narrative since 2017, and it keeps working. And the thing is, XRP is not even on the news as much anymore. I don't see it pop up on my feed or TikTok as much anymore. But I'm telling you, all my Novacoiner friends, or when they first get in, or they say, hey, my dad is getting into crypto or whatever, what do you think of XRP is like the very next follow-up question.
Okay.
And I still don't know how to answer it. I'm just like, I would choose something else. That's like my go-to.
Right. Well, I think the narrative is simple to understand. It's like it bridges the gap between Wall Street and crypto. It's the Wall Street coin. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, Ethereum is actually now the Wall Street coin. Bitcoin's the Wall Street coin more so than XRP. There's no strategic reserves of XRP going on. So yeah. I don't get the narrative. I don't get how it's persisted as much as it has. It's underperformed. If you look at, I remember buying XRP or seeing XRP, I think at $2 back in 2018. It's only up a third since that. So, I mean, it's just crazy to think how much underperformance XRP's had relative to, say, BNB. I mean, my God, right? Like BNB is up like 10 million X. And here we are, XRP is up to 60% or whatever, 30%. Come on, man. Like, geez, Louise. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that there's enough people out there saying it's going to 1,000 or whatever, and you're like, oh, from 3 to 1,000, like that makes sense. I mean, if Ethereum's at 4,500, just think how rich I'll be when XRP gets there.
Yep. And we see here a lot of close market capitalizations in these top 6 here, all 130 billion up to 500 billion here. So these are all really close. The first drop off really comes down here at 8. Dogecoin at number 8 at 41 billion. We've been talking about this with the rumors of the Doge ETF. This could spur dog season. That is the real first gap here. Solana 132 billion down to Doge of 41 billion. Obviously, Solana does a lot more than Doge, but it is interesting that the top 6 are all real close, neck and neck, and then this is the first fall off when you're still in the top 10 at crypto. So there is some opportunity there with Doge. We see Cardano down at 33 billion. Obviously, when does this get another hype cycle? We've been trying to get a trade on it, but Charles just can't ever follow through on momentum. Essentially, ADA is trying to be the DeFi or the network for Bitcoin DeFi, also rubbing elbows with the Trump administration. People thought it would be ripping and roaring by now. It just hasn't done so because, well, they just don't seem to get working products going very quick. And part of that is the scientific method and everything. They're making sure everything's perfect. But in the world of crypto, sometimes you snooze, you lose.
2017, bro. They've been telling about scientific method since 20. At some point, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, these guys don't deliver at the same level as some of these other chains. Talk the talk all you want, but at some point, you got to say, all right, it's just talk, man. Because who uses Cardano? We're in the trenches. We're advising teams to launch, where to launch, when to launch. In the 8 years I've been doing this game, not once has anyone talked about launching on Cardano.
That's true. Never even mentioned it.
One project we didn't end up investing because we're like, I don't think there's any retail on Cardano. I don't think there's a use on Cardano. I don't think it's a real chain that gets, that compares to Ethereum, whatever. Not one project of the hundreds we've talked to. So, I mean, look, at some point you just have to say, look, the reality didn't match the hype, and I'm moving on to something else. Again, cynics take, skeptics take. I think there's a lot of better coins. Like I'd rather get in Chainlink at 16 billion than Cardano with 33. Chainlink people, at least have usage. Companies are using it. You see announcements every other day, like new big company using Chainlink tech. So if you want to, quote, undervalued token within the top 20, Chainlink's looking pretty good to me. Even
you got that is we've never had a project actually normally projects are like, hey, do you want to invest in pre-sale? Do you want to market for us? This is what our plan is. And they name like 4 chains that they might launch on. And Cardano has never been one of them.
Not in 8 or 10 years we've been doing this.
Then another one is Tron. Tron is never mentioned either. But the thing with Tron is you have Justin Sun, manipulating, pumping that asset, owns a centralized exchange. So for Tron and Cardano, you're relying on, hey, maybe their scientific method actually happens, or they get the Bitcoin DeFi, whatever. And then for Tron, you're relying on, hey, when's the next time Justin Sun's going to pump my bag instead of buy $1 million banana?
There's a lot of stablecoin activity on Tron, but outside of that, I don't know why Tron is as valued as it is. Probably Justin Sun pumping it, whatever, manipulation, shady shit. Look at Hyperliquid. I'd rather invest in Hyperliquid at number 15. I mean, how much money is that product printing every day? Apparently got like 11 employees and making like $100 million a month. You know, a lot of it's going to buybacks. So that's a better investment. Hyperliquid. I mean, my God. So there's a lot of better things out there than some of the big stuff that people talk about. In our opinion, I mean, look, the crazy thing about crypto, and perhaps investing in general, is the most logical plans and arguments, someone just fall flat on their face. You know what I mean? You can have all the reason in the world why Chainlink is better than XYZ thing, and yet for some reason the market just doesn't agree with you, and it underperforms. So, you know, there is that element to it, but I think there's a lot of good opportunities here on the top 100 if you're looking for some outperformance that's coming and going to be phase 2 of alt season.
Now we got World Liberty Finance, big news from them. They just said all of the fees that they generate, they're going to use to buy back and burn the token. So that's pretty wild that they said 100%. I would have figured 50% or 75%. They said 100%. That was just announced. It's up 15.6% today, going from 0 to 6.2 billion rapidly with ties to the Trump team, so to the Trump family. So shout out to people who got in that. I did not. I looked at the pre-sale, but I didn't want to do the KYC. And then they blacklisted some wallets. I know Justin Sun was one of the wallets that got blacklisted. So a lot of shenanigans going on there. Is obviously they're probably at the tippy top of regulatory framework when you got one of the Trump's sons involved with it. But they just announced that they'll be buying and burning a lot of that token, and that's good. Whether you own it or not, you want to root for that because World Liberty Finance has strategic reserves. They are buying Ethereum. They are buying Bitcoin. They are buying other altcoins. And if they continue to produce fees and they buy and burn this token price goes up. They can get more loans. They can buy more ETH. So I'm all for it. Shout out to everybody who owns that coin. Hodl on and let that thing get some green candles so you can buy some of our other bags.
Hell yeah, I think that one's undervalued too. I think that one's going to continue to do well, grind up, and you'll end up seeing it close to like the top 20 for all the reasons you stated. It seems like they're doing the right things, right, with just making some good strategic decisions. They got obviously Trump's family's backing it, so they're going to keep doing their thing. Real quick, want to give some shout outs to the viewers that have popped in here on this Friday morning. We have, I believe this is Meek Chapo. What's up, buddy? Good morning. We have Gav. I believe this is Gav. Another fabulous market update. Thank you, sir. I'm glad you're enjoying our rant and rave about why XRP is dog shit.
I think some of these people are XRP maxes.
It's fine. I mean, look, it's going to do well. It's going to go to 6. It's going to go to 6 eventually, but it's going to take a while. There's better plays out there. What else do you like in the top 100 here, Nick?
Well, we scroll here. We got Uniswap at 5.6 billion. The interesting here isn't I don't like Uniswap. Obviously, it's one of the most utilized decentralized exchanges when it comes to Ethereum, Base, Polygon, and some of the others. PancakeSwap still wins on BSC network, but Uniswap, look at that valuation, and that's when I look at PLSX. Obviously, it will take Pulse Chain doing well, and that's only for one network. But Pulse Chain buys and burns itself. There is no dev fees. Uniswap when it launched, they're like, well, maybe Uni holders will get a portion of the revenue from the decentralized exchange. And that's just never happened. And they just keep blaming it on a regulatory framework. Meanwhile, MetaMask is about to airdrop a token. So, Uniswap, I don't like the token economics there. But what I do think this leads you to is PLSX could be vastly undervalued. Cake could be vastly undervalued because at least those tokens buy and burn themselves and they're benevolent. What Uniswap has is multi-chain versus PLSX is just Pulse Chain, and PancakeSwap is primarily focused on just BSC. But man, massive valuation for Uniswap. To think what this could be if it actually had good token economics. Uniswap was a massive airdrop for many people in many communities last cycle. And, the token economics, even though they're shit, still a top 38 token just because of your name and your brand.
Well, I still have a fond spot in my heart for Uniswap because of the airdrop.
Right.
And I'll tell a little story about what I did with that airdrop. Got a decent chunk, by the way, because, we were in DeFi and doing it, and so got, decent chunk of it. Held on to it. I held on to it through I held on to a bear market. Got it during the bull, held on to it through the bear, started to run again at some point, and that was around the time that the Frontier Fund opportunity came to me back in March, for me to kind of do a beta test with Frontier Fund, the trading hedge fund, blah, blah, blah. So at that point, I was like, what do I got to sell? Sitting on this XRP here, excuse me, Uniswap here that I got for free. I'll take that and flip it into Frontier Fund and see how that goes. And they traded that all the way up to almost 6 figures of value for myself. So I'm very, very happy. My Uniswap, flipped it into something that was better. I don't see it, outperforming some of the other similar, let's call it DEX tokens. I think PancakeSwap, for my money, is probably a better investment. PancakeSwap seems to care much, 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 much more about pumping the PancakeSwap token. How many things does PancakeSwap do to help pump their own token? Whereas Uniswap's like, oh, it exists. Governance.
LP providers, the rich get richer,
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not, I'm happy that I got the airdrop. I flipped it into Frontier Fund, made good money. So that's great, but, for my money, there's much better DEX tokens out there. PLSX.
Yeah, that looks like it was at the top there in March too, over $15. So shout out to that. And if you guys want to get in the Frontier Fund, you just heard Crypto Armor's story. He's been in it longer. He's been in it for like 3 cycles. So this is the 3rd cycle now. But 400,000 serve or more, you can get in the Frontier Fund, and we'll have an update on the performance of that here in the next 10 days. I believe 30-day period will be over. People hopefully will be cashing in some more profits, and you guys will be like, wow, why didn't I get in the Frontier Fund? Well, 400,000 serve, and then you can get in the next round of the Frontier Fund. You need to do it.
Yeah, nice little shill there.
Let's keep scrolling, see what's going on here in the top 100. A lot of good names. You got Pepe. I mean, that's crazy. That was the one thing in this bear market. We had that little cycle, that little window where we made some gains. Pepe came out of nowhere into billions and still holding billions. Pretty wild. You got OKX. Shout out to them. A big mover in sponsorships and stuff as far as this cycle. Their token is doing pretty well. Let's see.
What the meme core? It's funny. I don't go through this list often, but every time I do, I'm like, I thought I knew everything about crypto, or all, like, at least the major stuff. Like, what the hell is meme core? You ever heard of that?
No idea. Well, the crazy thing is, look at how low the volume is on meme coin compared to its competitors at the same market cap.
Strange.
That's some good supply control.
Scammy.
Yeah.
Stay away.
They'll put meme core on this top 100 list, but they won't add, the PLS core, the Pulse Chain cores to this list because, Richard Art owns too many. WorldCoin down to 5.7%. Remember, Thomas Lee and Bitminer BMNR just invested $20 million into WorldCoin strategic reserves. So that's interesting. I just don't love this. I mean, they're like, oh, you want proof of identity, proof of human. I just don't like that at all. You have no privacy already. Let's all scan our irises, and now we're proof of humans on everything in all the data that's out there. I just think it's so weird.
No, they already have all your data, Nick.
That's
don't
so
worry about
weird.
that.
Yeah, but they don't have my iris. They don't scan my eyeball
You
yet.
don't have your iris, not yet, not until you do that thing.
There will if I scan on there.
That's true, yeah. I mean, the one thing I do like about WorldCoin is it feels like a practical, kind of real-world use case of blockchain, which if you go through this list, there isn't a lot of that. It's just like L1, L2 that wasn't needed. Here's a meme coin. Here's a token that's worth billions and billions of dollars but has no usage. At least this thing has a product that allegedly people around the world are using this product. I mean, I'm not going to use it. I don't want to use it. But there's people using it. So I mean, I don't know. We should give them some commendation for having built a product that real world people want to use.
Yeah, I think people are using it. They have a ticker of it going up there. It's just so, I mean, it's gonna do well probably because that's the direction we're heading towards. iRobot. That's gonna be reality. So WorldCoin, you're gonna see that headline up on the the New York up on the big screen. Everybody's getting their iris scan. Free iris scans today, just like the flu shots or the COVID vaccines. But it's just not a world I want to live in. But we're trending in that direction. So I guess you might as well make money on it, right?
I guess so.
What's interesting is right above that is Ethereum Classic, and I bet you there's a lot of people watching the show that don't even know the story of Ethereum Classic, and it's still worth $3.1 billion. That's pretty wild to see. This is actually the real Ethereum. If you go look at the blockchain history, there was an incident where there was a hack and they needed to roll back the chain, and that is what the current Ethereum is. This is part of why Charles Hoskinson left Ethereum, was due to that rollback. This right here is the actual original Ethereum blockchain right here. Still has value, even though most of you probably don't even know the story.
It should be worth zero.
Pretty wild.
Why should it be worth zero? Well, again, no real usage. No one's deploying coins over there. I don't think there's DeFi. I mean, maybe there's a little bit, but to justify $3 billion, it doesn't make sense. But I think crypto, a lot of these coins are just, it's just based on speculators and traders kind of propping up their valuations, and it's listed on a lot of centralized exchanges. You can trade it a lot of places. There's liquidity, but is there a point to it? Is anybody using it? Is it solving any problems? The people in that battle, Ethereum versus Ethereum Classic, I remember when that all went down. You lost, guys. You lost. The consensus was to do essentially a new chain, and that's what happened. And we have Ethereum now that's taken over, and that's where all the activity is. That's where all the value is. That's where all the VCs are. That's where the ETFs are, et cetera, et cetera. But yet, this is still worth $1 billion, $3 billion. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Yeah, but yeah, I'd stay away from it. I remember when it launched, and I stayed away from then. And I remember
this is when the battle occurred back in 2017. So what's interesting about Ethereum Classic is that it started way back here because again this was the original Ethereum, but the battle really happened in 2017. People were getting vocal. It went to like $35. But if you think you've seen an alt season, look at this. The battle's already over. The thing should already probably be at zero in 2020. That thing ran to $130 in the last bull market. That is absolutely wild. Oh my gosh. Please give us an alt season. Let us have some fun.
That's a great example of alt season, right? That's a great example. Just an absolute parabolic, insane chart on a token that has no real purpose, use case, or should be worth zero. That is alt season, guys. For those who haven't been here, you just got to crypto maybe at the back end of that alt season, or maybe only in the past few years you got involved. That's what happens. If you were to go to the charts of all of these old coins that have been around for a few cycles, that's what everyone's chart looked like at that moment in time. Just massive, massive, insane green candle up. So, and by the way, that took a few months, I think, right? Or maybe
yeah. That's from February. That's from February all the way till the end of May.
Yeah. So that for a few months, everyone was getting tremendously rich. Now, obviously, you had to sell at the right time, blah, blah, you had to own the asset initially. Okay, I get all that. But that was everyone's portfolio for like 3 months. So that's, when people say alt season, I know there's a lot of skepticism will never come back. I think it will come back. We need the right conditions from the Fed. We need, catalysts. Things need to come together. A little bit of luck. But it will happen, and everything goes parabolic for 2-3 months, and, you cash in then.
Someone call Wolf if you want to click on that, because I still hold some ETH Classic. Haha, I should check that. Yeah, you should check it. Some of you, if you've been around, you probably hold it because you either got like a snapshot, you got an airdrop of it. If you were early to the Learn Crypto, I was mining with GPUs. That's when it was much more feasible to do so. Ethereum Classic was one of the best paying miners. So if you mined with us, check your wallets. You might have some floating there. I'm not going to say you're going to get rich, but hey, it's $20 a token. And at that time, you were making like a token per day for a mining rig. So if you never sold those, you might have some money over there, and you can go buy some surf tokens with it or something.
Let's check out some other older coins and just, I want to see, let's see the Polygon. Oh, man. Polygon was in the top 10. This is just sad to see, man. And that was a chain that actually got usage. If you look.
Why? Oh, they renamed it and they got rid of the chart. Interesting.
Oh, that's stupid. All right, well, that's annoying, but
why
that's
would they
another
do that?
one that not dormant, but chart was doing nothing. Bear market, and then bam, explodes into the top 10. I think it was at one time in the top 10. And that was a chain that people actually used and were deploying tokens on and DeFi tools and et cetera, et cetera. So that chain got usage. It's sad to see where it's gone, man. Fuck. Just a reminder, too, that, if you marry your bags and you kind of get stuck in the past, you can also get wrecked because, man, to see that drop from top 10 to 61. I don't even know why. That's unfortunate.
Pump Fund at $2.5 billion after extracting $700 million from the market and raising another $1 billion. Not surprising because you think you could at least get some good price performance with $1.7 million that you've earned. Up 17%, definitely been cruising off the lows, trying to bring back money back into the trenches on Solana. It seemingly worked a bit because some pre-sales that are launching on Solana are doing amazingly well. So I guess I can't talk full shit on. The reason I talk shit on Pump is just because they were provedly extracting. They essentially were letting people play in the trenches. They had $700 million in SOL. They sold it. They bridged it to a different chain, and they took it out of the market and bought a yacht with it or whatever they did. So you never like to see that.
Yeah, that's true. That did happen, but we also have to call a spade a spade. They've already bought back a shit ton of Pump Fund tokens. I think 40 million worth. I saw.
They raised $1 billion though. What's
no,
40
I know,
million?
I know.
What's
I know,
40
I know.
million? You raise. What's crazy is you raise $1 billion. That'd be like us already having a product. We do Crypto Paradise the past 2 years. Everything's done. you raise 100 million, you put like you hire somebody for like $1 million for a 10-year contract, and they're like, hey guys, we just bought $1 million in surf. It's like, yeah, what happened to the other $98 million?
Oh, I know you're not wrong, but it's maybe over time they end up buying enough back to make up for it. Let's see, Wolfie's gonna be buying more Surf with his Ethereum Classic. I think that's a good move. And he also asked, let's talk on Yaks a little bit. Yeah, let's talk on Yaks. Update on those guys. So they launched the other day at like $16,000 market cap or something like that. Ran up to, I don't know, 400K. It has been on a steep correction, steep decline, which not fun to see, of course. But I do think things will rebound here. I mean, nothing goes down forever, nothing goes up forever. So I think it will recover. They're still working on the airdrop. The challenge with the airdrop, as I understand it, is they need to exempt one of the wallets so they don't pay the 5% tax or 4.5% tax when they distribute it. Okay, so it's taking a little bit of time. Had to validate some wallets are going to the airdrop. Just taking more time than anyone had hoped. But I hope they'll get that out of the way. Hopefully within the next day or two. And then we're going to get them in front of some other Pulse Chain influencers. We have to wait for some of these snipers to sell out. That's really, I mean, if you look at what happened, I think a lot of snipers buying in initially, running the price up, and then they take their profits like a day or two later. And then hopefully the true believers, people who like the narrative, the fact that it's RWA, generating income, all those things, they can buy up on the cheap. That's what you would hope. That's what you want to see, and that's what we're rooting for.
Yeah, I have a similar take. I mean, up at the rally and the sell-off, I mean, also the market went down a little bit with Pulse Chain, but I have a little bit more of a pessimistic take. The other thing with it is it's hard for people that want to buy until the airdrop is done, and now the airdrop has been pushed off a couple days, so that means there's people waiting on the sidelines looking to buy the dip because a lot of times people get the airdrop tokens and they sell for the profits, but hey, that's a buy the dip opportunity. The other thing is too, with them so focused on all the issues with trying to get the airdrop snapshot and stuff, they haven't been that active in Web3. They're more of a Web2 native thing, so they're not tapped into the Web3. If you scroll on the Twitter here, a lot of the posts are Crypto Paradise talking about the launch and stuff from the launch, which is like, a week ago or whenever it happened going into the launch. So, part of this is on them. They're not active enough. They're not talking about the YAX token. There's not been a video yet on what the YAC is doing because they've been preoccupied with the airdrop. And hopefully once the airdrop is done, people sell out. That's the buy the dip opportunity, and they get more active and they start talking about, hey, this is a real Web2 property. We own this property. It's making X amount of dollars per day, per week, per month. X amount of that is going back to YAC buybacks and burns. X amount of that is going to people who stake their YAC token and earning, real world asset yield on a property. That's what they need to do. So a little bit of this is on them. A little bit is on, obviously, the smart market participants. They had the run up, they collected some fees, whatever. Maybe they're selling out and they're looking to buy a dip once the airdrop is completed. So some of it's on the waiting of the airdrop, some of it's on YACDAO themselves for not being that active in the Web3. And then of course, it's a new project launched at 16K. Even if it's at 60, 80, 100K market cap, that's still a 5X and people might be taking profit. So again, they have a real property, so there's nothing against it. Super small market cap, but they need to get more active. They need to do their own thing. And on a positive note, they have bought and burnt over 200,000 surf from volume already, so we are rooting for them because the success of them obviously is the success of our community, but it buys and burns the surf token indefinitely. So there's going to be another launch coming.
All true. All true. I would just say I've seen this before where, launch happens, hype, okay, does well, then big sell-off. Usually those things do end up recovering because the sellers run out of steam. And then people who like the token start buying back in. A couple of catalysts get announced, and things can recover quickly. So I wouldn't count these guys out by any stretch of the imagination. Let's get the airdrop done with. Let's get a little more active on the Twitter side. Let's get some announcements out. They've collected a lot of PLSX.
That's true.
My understanding is slated to go towards a big YAX buyback. So that could maybe be the catalyst. If they do a $5,000 market buy right now, the price is going back to 200,000, 200K market cap just like that. So. These things, low market cap, highly volatile, newly launched coin, you kind of have to live with this a little bit out of the gates, and then hopefully things do steady and recover here soon.
Yeah, and if you own the token, check your PLSX balance because that should be rising. And then also what you want is them to get their solo staking out. What we're pushing for them to have it at launch day. They didn't have it yet. But yeah, the staking would be nice because essentially that's going to be a portal where you stake your YACs to get a monthly yield based off the property. And that might be $10 a month, 50 or 100. But again, you got your yaks in there. You're going to earn some of the token tax fees because 0.5% of that goes. Plus, you're going to get some of the yield from the property that they already have live. And they have ambitions of other properties in the future as well. So, yeah, that's Yaks token, but that's kind of the reason why I think it's deeper than normal for some of the launches we've been involved with. It's not over for them for sure, but I just need to see more out of their team. That's all I can say on that. There is going to be another project called Bear AI that will be launching. It's not going to be launching until October, but it is going to be buying and burning Surf token, X token, and PTGC. And this one will not have an airdrop, will not have any pre-sale, and seems to be more in touch with the meme community and the Web3 community here with real products live on day one. So I think Bear AI is going to do even better than Yak token. Remember, Yak's launched at 16K, went to like 400K. I think Bear AI is going to launch at 16K and go above 400K and hold those levels a little stronger. Obviously, there will be profit taking, but I just think they're more in tune with Pulse Chain, with the Web3 marketing and day one product launches. So that'll be one to keep an eye on. Also, could be good timing because I do believe that AI catches a bid with these interest rate cuts. I think AI in traditional markets catches a bid, and then people will be looking for AI cryptos moving forward as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for Bear. I think that one can do well. I like everything about the project, real product, team's active, everything you said. We need Pulse Chain to start showing signs of life, though, right? We need Pulse Chain to attract some new blood and new market participants. I think this this campaign that Richard Hart's done, either it's not going to be successful or we haven't seen the success of it yet, but it hasn't really done much. I think, as far as I can tell, the start of the campaign was like 2 weeks ago.
I think the first deliveries just started 3 days ago. Like that's the first post anybody on Reddit has actually received anything. It was like 3 days to a week ago.
Okay, so maybe over time it's going to start to see, but I just think there's a big gap from getting a tablet to actually buying a token.
Oh,
right?
For
It's
sure.
like a random chain. So it's just
we've been saying that as well. It's going to take time to 7 to 21 days before anybody receives it. Probably another day to open it, another day to even have interest. Coinbase puts you on a 5-day hold once you buy. So it takes time for sure. And that's why we're also hoping, Richard Hart, in order to get people to buy, they need to see green candles to get them to act quicker.
Well, that's the key,
So,
right? If Richard Hart to say buys $1 million, then worth of it, then we're good to go. I think that's going to be key. That's also impacting Yaks. It's impacting Surf. It's impacting Bear AI when they launch. I don't think it's going to impact forever. I think Pulse Chain is going to eventually outperform, but we're not in that phase of the market yet.
Let's just finish this top 100 and then we'll call it a day unless there's any questions there. If you want to pull up what Wolfie says there as well.
Let's see here. Yeah. Talking about Yaks. Yeah, I think their website's good. They have a property. You can go down there and visit. It's making money. To me, the fundamentals are strong. Maybe I'm just crazy and completely misinterpreting the market, and I guess RWA maybe isn't as exciting as people maybe I'm anticipating, but I think they get a couple of these growing pains stuff out of the way, airdrop, deck screener, blah blah blah. Get that finished, then you can turn on some marketing, and I think it'll recover. Of course, their token is helping the Surf token, so we're happy with that. I think it's already bought back more than 200,000 Surf, by the way, and burned more than 200,000 Surf. I'd have to check, but we've had some pretty nice burns coming through. You can check the dashboard. You can see the daily activity on the Surf token. So I think that's good. And then Bear AI, same thing. So
we got number 92 here, official Trump token, the Trump meme coin. Was it on your bingo coin, that bingo card, that 2 Trump tokens would be in the top 100 in his first 6 months of his administration?
Well, no, it was not. But the sad thing about the Trump coin, when that launched, it was like top 20. It was top 20. So you bought the top of that.
16 billion
how
or something.
down are you, right? My goodness. So yeah, you're 70% down off the top. I think he's got to do something. You got to say something, right? You can't just be, I launch it and then never talk about it, never any attention to it again. I think that's recipe for long. People just get bored and there's no updates. There's nothing doing here, and I'm out. But yeah, of course, it's still 1.7 billion. So what the hell do I know?
I think the last little pump it saw from like $7 to $15 was back here. and that was because the top holders got to go to that like Mar-a-Lago dinner with him or something like that. But again, this isn't really a Trump token, okay, guys? They pitched the idea, it fell within regulatory compliance. He's like, sure, I'll do a couple dinners and make a post. Like, this isn't his token. This is still a whole team behind it. He doesn't give a shit about this. He's trying to figure out why people are assassinating each other and how to solve,
That's very true.
World War III and everything else. He doesn't give a fuck about Trump token.
That's very true.
Just doesn't care.
That's very true. So that's word of the wise. Buying the top of a meme coin is rarely a wise investment. But yeah, man, even some stuff down here I'm not familiar with. So it gets interesting. You start going down these mid caps. I don't usually fuck with them because I feel like the upside is relatively limited and there's still plenty of downside risk with some of them. But there's some decent stuff on here. I mean,
there's Floki all the way down at 128. That was in the top 100 recently. Needs to drop to zero. It's $943 million. Obviously a 40x to catch up to Doge. And then you got Pancake Swap down here, the cake token, just below $1 billion
much higher,
as well.
Shouldn't it? Pancake Swap, they're active as all hell. And BNB just went on a tremendous run. So you'd expect it to be, the chart's looking pretty good on Pancake Swap as far as I can see. But you'd expect that to be doing a little bit better.
Yeah. All right, well, if there's no other questions today, we've kind of gone over the charts. We got some speculation in the works. We've got you along on SBET, BMNR, and some other things. And, is there any other questions, comments, concerns, questions?
Well, we have a Spaces coming up with Quants AI in about 20 minutes. So don't forget to tune into that, especially if you are an investor in Quants. If you're looking to maybe get involved, jump in, listen in, hear what the founder has to say for himself. Do your own research, as we like to say. And here's a great opportunity for you to do that.
Buy 200,000 surf in order to invest in Quants right before it launches. The investment cutoff is on Monday, and they're launching on September 25th. And they're going to try to mimic what some of these other Solana pre-sales have done, and those have done extremely well. So we'll see what happens here. Pre-sale season might be coming back. You got to roll the dice and get in early before we're sure, and that's how you get some big gains.
We got one more comment here just to talk about selling the Pulse tablet just around for $150. Yeah, I am seeing these. I don't know, Nick, if you're seeing, I've seen posts about eBay listings and things like that. I couldn't tell if they're jokes from
I think the influencers like Gabriel or something got sent one, and he kind of made like a troll, like, oh, look, I got a Pulse Chain tablet, and he wrote on it, I love Richard, and he's like, well, Hex is already at 0, so I can have fun with it, kind of trolling it, kind of giving free marketing, whatever. But yeah, then somebody in his area, a Hex Maxi or whatever, bought him. The guy got 2 tablets, bought them for $75 each. People are buying them out there. I want one. I reached out to who I know is involved with shipping it, and they said no, we're not going to do targeted shipping, which is another mistake in my opinion. I'm not going to name names or whoever's involved there. If I reach out and I'm a positive KOL, I'm not the biggest, but I got 30, 40,000 followers. Crypto Paradise has 60,000. Why would you not send me a tablet so I can do a box opening, which is going to be a bullish box opening? And I would definitely put it on display. They said they're just not sending it out to anybody. They've had other requests, and they've said no. I think that is a vital mistake. I think that is a big mistake. But some KOL happened to stumble upon it and get it. He did it. He did a negative review. It got like 100,000 views, so all publicity is good publicity. And he actually sold them for $75 per tablet. But not sending it out to people who are reaching out to you that are going to give either a neutral or positive feedback on it is a blunder on the marketing side from Pulse Chain.
Yeah,
so there you go. There's some insight.
You're thinking, all right, you have the opportunity to go on eBay and buy it from someone, which gets activity going on eBay or something. Who knows? But I don't like that either. I mean, of course, we would have done a positive review about it. But, at the end of the day, for me, Richard Hart needs to port some money into Pulse Chain and help support the chart and the price. That's, you can do all the marketing that you want, but if the chart doesn't look good, if there's no volume, if there's right candles, no one's buying. This is true for any coin in crypto. So he knows this, or at least he should, and he's got to do the right thing.
It'll be interesting. Keep an eye on Bitcoin and Ether. We'll keep being live every day. Definitely watch the spaces with Quants if you're interested in that, whether you're already invested, whether you want to invest, or maybe you want to try to launch or buy the post-launch dip if there is one. Good luck with that. And we'll be here talking about Bitcoin and Ether, watching it now. What will happen if the stock market has a little bit of a hiccup because it has been at all-time highs? Will Bitcoin follow down, or will Bitcoin find a footing and start to do its own thing like gold has been doing in the past couple months?
Yes, there is some allocation left for quants. Check the Dow. You're in the Dow. Check the Dow. Forms just went out. You can invest more into quants, which launches in 6 days. All right, guys.